Welcome to Just Travel with Sandy. Hey everybody, I'm Sandy, your guide to stress-free and exciting travel. This podcast is all about turning your travel dreams into reality, whether it's dealing with the overwhelm in planning a trip, overcoming travel anxiety, handling language barriers, embracing new cultures with confidence, or anything in between. We like to share practical tips to help you navigate new destinations with ease. So whether you're a seasoned traveler or just starting out, this is your space to gain the mindset and tools to explore the world with joy. And I'm so excited. Sandy's Travel Lounge is now open. It's a free, fun, welcoming community for like-minded travelers or those that are ready to embark on the journey of travel. So get ready for events, laughter, expert advice, curated itineraries, and all things traveled. So today I want to talk about the biggest travel trends expected in 2025. And I was reading this really interesting article on Condé Nast Traveler, and some of the things surprised me. I was just really, by some of them, I was a little surprised. The first trend that I was really surprised about was travel gets lit. And what's the trend? It is literary inspired travel. So books are influencing travel choices, with readers truly visiting destinations that are featured in literature, as, for example, Ulysses in Dublin or Harry Potter Platform 9 3/4 in London. And book festivals and literary themed accommodations are really gaining popularity. So it spoke about specifically two book fairs, the one in Edinburgh, the International Book Festival, and the Helsinki Book Fair. And the latter, the Helsinki Book Fair, drew 98,000 people to the capital last year. It's whoa. So I found that really interesting. Literary influence travel. Never would have thought that. And I was eagerly surprised by number two, astrocartography. That's a tongue twister. Astrocartography. So travelers are actually using astrology to determine destinations that align with their birth charts, and they're seeking places that resonate with their personal planetary influences. Now, I can only speak for myself. I don't really book my travel based around that, but energetically, I do feel better in some places than in others. For example, when I lived in the South here in America, it didn't align at all with me, but I absolutely loved how I felt in California. And it's just like when I go to Italy, for example, I feel at home, whereas other places I'm like, it's fine, but I wouldn't want to necessarily come back, and I certainly wouldn't want to live here. So that's really interesting, but I just find it fascinating that travel is actually something that's based around that. Number three is extended honeymoons, the long honeymoon. So couples are actually opting for longer and more adventurous post-wedding trips, sometimes even incorporating remote work to extend their travels. It's not just the, 1 week, 2 week honeymoon, but really a lot longer and really taking advantage of it. I feel like a lot of couples are all actually also postponing their honeymoons, maybe till a year later, till they can really get, after all the wedding expenses, saved up for that great big honeymoon. I thought that was really interesting. And the other thing that was interesting was that the average couple spends about $26,000 on their wedding, which it may be a lot for some and for others not so much. And I feel a lot of newlywed couples want to save up for their honeymoon and then maybe extend it. The next one was women's history tourism. So there's a growing interest in visiting museums and cultural sites dedicated to women's contributions through history. So that's really interesting. And also, solo female travelers are on the rise. And I can only speak for myself, and I've spoken about that in other podcasts. I absolutely love nothing more than solo travel. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, what doesn't surprise me so much are the culinary adventures in remote locations. I actually know a lot of people that love to take culinary trips. Somebody had asked me recently about culinary trips to Italy. And of course, Italy, the food is so great. So that is one of the most popular places. But I also know people, I just saw it advertised recently, a culinary trip to Japan. And now that's not definitely not something that would be on my agenda because I'm not a fan of cooking, but I do know a lot of people that love those unique dining experiences in off the beaten track locations. And it combines the gastronomy with adventure. So that didn't surprise me as much. Now, another one is, like just mentioned above in the women's history tourism, solo female adventure travel. An increasing number of women are embarking on solo adventure trips. So, not just traveling on their own, but truly thrill seeking travel. And I think that's a ton of fun. I know somebody who was in Nepal backpacking, trekking, and I found that fascinating. So, I may need to put that on my bucket list because I've always wanted to go to Nepal, never been. And that just sounds fascinating. So, number seven, solo female adventure traveling. And what ties into that is participatory sports tourism, athletic adventures. Now, I do know quite a few people that like to go on biking trips. In fact, I know somebody that was just in Italy and they flew to Italy. I want to say they went to Florence. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, then they rented bikes and they went all the way up to Cinque Terre and they obviously not in one go. And then the van would follow them with their gear. They'd overnight in one place and then they'd continue. So those are becoming more and more popular. But it's not just biking. There's a lot of equestrian, of course, a lot of rides, a lot of hiking. Of course, the Camino, hike the Camino, that's a really popular one. But especially here in America, pickleball has become somewhat of a fascination. I've never played, really have no desire to, but a lot of these vacations where you stay active, which is cool. But so a lot of those athletic adventures have really become more popular and are trending for 2025. Now, I don't think this is just for 2025, but it may be very popular are holistic health retreats. Wellness travel is really evolving to include some tremendous comprehensive health programs, and they not just address physical, but also mental and emotional well being with yoga and meditation and Qigong, and especially with the blue zone back factors a lot of that has become really trendy. I know somebody who was just recently in a at a retreat that had a lot of cryo chambers, so that's another thing. That's just becoming more and more popular. And I see a lot of that come through my email in Switzerland, also in the mountains, Italy too. And I know somebody actually who hosts wellness retreats here locally. She's going to have one in Ireland next year. But so those have been really on the rise. I don't think just in 2025 from what I've seen, but retreats, health retreats, holistic retreats in the past few years. And this, I guess it surprised me, but it didn't, is that families are taking extended breaks together, using their time for education, bonding, and cultural immersion. So I really think that a lot of families want to, after COVID especially, they want to get together for longer periods of time and bond. And maybe some are even longer and they homeschool on the road because what broadens the mind more in my opinion, in my humble opinion, nothing broadens the mind more than travel. So the cultural immersion and quality bonding time together. I think families have really just gotten together and traveled all over. I'm just going to sum them up again because I just think it's fascinating. Number one, the literary inspired travel. And again, I find it so interesting that Books are really shaping travel choices. Imagine visiting the moors of England because you fell in love with the Wuthering Heights, or walk the streets of Dublin after reading Ulysses. Literary festivals and book themed accommodations are popping up all over, giving readers a chance to really immerse themselves in their favorite stories. And I think this really speaks to how we crave the deeper connections with the places we visit, because it's not just, as I've said before, the stamp and the passport. It's really going deeper than that. And if you, like me, are a book lover, maybe I'll look into that. Again, what really surprised me was the astrocartography. Dang, that's a hard word to say, but using your birth chart to decide where you should travel. I just think it's great. I just think it's really great. The extended honeymoons. 2025, people are going to their long honeymoon, combining travel with remote work to stretch their post wedding escape, even if it's a year later. And I've seen them as long as a month or more. I thought that was really, really great. And then women's history tourism. And I love that. So consider adding a stop at the Women's Museum the next time you're exploring a new city, because it's an empowering way to learn and travel at the same time. The food, the culinary experiences. And again, I don't think that's so new, but I think it's a continuing trend. It's the fusion of adventure and gastronomy. And why not learn to cook some of your favorite dishes in the country of your choice? Solo female adventure travel. I love that women are becoming more, not just solo travel, but maybe a trek in Patagonia, or explore a European city on your own by bike. And then the athletic adventures. Again, I do know a lot of people that also go to do yoga in Costa Rica. And of course, it's nice to do a cycling in the Netherlands because it's nice and flat. And the holistic health retreats as the next trend. And that again is not really a new thing, because it has been around for some time, but it's a beautiful way. In fact, I plan something similar. I'm not going to label it retreat because it's not really a retreat, but it will combine some yoga and some sound healing in India in 2026. I just had to think about what year is next year. And the longer family vacation. So if you've been thinking about traveling with your family, that's definitely on the rise. So, to make the most of these trends, you do need to do a little planning, whether it's aligning your birth chart for photography or finding some adventure options. But I think some of these trends are really cool, and some surprised me and some didn't. But who knows, so some of these surprised me and some didn't. But whatever you decide to do, I'm sure it will be amazing. And if you do have Ireland on your bucket list, I still have 2 slots left to my trip in June. I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting. We just added something really fun to the agenda, and I cannot wait. So, thank you for tuning in with Just Travel with Sandy. So, I hope this episode inspired you to take the next step towards your travel dreams. And if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to subscribe, share, or leave a review. It really means the world to me. And I have this vision of making this a big podcast, getting out to the world, getting all kinds of people into my travel lounge, because I truly believe that nothing broadens the mind more than travel, and we can grow so much as human beings. So it's not just about picking up that souvenirs, but it's truly about forming us and growing us as we move through life. So until next time, keep dreaming, planning, and exploring with confidence. Safe travels. And until next time, remember that every great journey starts with a single step.